Hello, everyone, and welcome to an Astrology Saturday with your host with the most, Chad the Maverick. So, we're going to be talking about the end of Mercury Retrograde. So, congratulations. If you have made it this far, you have made it to the end of Mercury Retrograde, which has been wreaking havoc through the collective for the past 3 weeks of time. Very strong time of review, having to look at the real internals of certain things, really getting combined to your higher mind and what's really right for you in this regard. All of those themes have been popping off for this last 3 week period, right? So what we're going to be getting into today is what's going on with this end of Mercury retrograde. Why was it so heavy? Why do we have to go through all the things that we did during this retrograde? And what does that mean now getting into the next steps? Not only that, but we just stepped into this new season. So happy Pisces season to all the Pisces out there. If you are a Pisces in the chat or have any Pisces placements, happy birthday to you. Happy, this is your energy. This is your time frame. Pisces is a very spiritual energy, very intuitive and very mystical in all the things that they do. Very creative as well. Speaking of mystical and creativity and everything along the lines of that, if you have any time this upcoming Monday on 222, I have a class on 222 about numbers and synchronicities. So be sure to pull up for that class. We're going to be talking about how the synchronicities and the working, how you end up seeing these different regards. And not only that, we have the Astrology 102 starting this upcoming Wednesday. So if you missed the one-on-one by any chance, do not fret. The 102 is still going to be on a similar level. However, we're getting into deeper aspects in astrology to really break down and show you how all these things work. So we're going to be talking about destiny, how the planets talk to one another, and we're going to be breaking it down to the point where you can actually read someone's birth chart. So be sure to check out the Astrology 102 series that is now on the website, houseintuitionla.com. Check all of that out because we're going to be having a great time in that regard. So now, what else is happening this week? So we also have Venus going into Pisces, right? And at first this was called like your great love and such like this, but this I really sense is going to be a powerful it's a powerful time because we're really tapping into our heart's desires. Like what does our heart truly desire coming up with this Venus and Pisces. This Venus and Pisces is going to be coming up later on in the week. I'll be breaking that down in just a bit. Someone said I'm the best teacher. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for showing up to the class. I really do have a great time with you all. Every single class that we have, it's always a good time. Speaking of, if you have the time frame, also check out at the end of the week we have the full moon in Virgo class this upcoming Friday, and the full moon in Virgo is going to be all about getting and digging into the details and what we need to release from our fantasies and what do we need to bring in to our actual real life. What do we need to bring into our like organic life from there, right? So it's going to be really about releasing certain limitations that you had on yourself, but also being able to like snub out certain things that are a little bit too outlandish, right? The full moon in Virgo is going to be all about that. So we have an interesting week. There's not a lot going on with a bunch of different aspects. However, these things that are happening are really diving us into everything else. Mind you, Mercury in retrograde is ending tonight, right? So it hasn't even ended yet, but it's ending tonight. So now that we have the scope of what's going to be going on for this week, first of all, I just want to thank you for showing up to this Astrology Saturday Live. If you're watching this afterward, I appreciate you being here as well. Be sure to like this, comment, show some love, etc. Appreciate you all for being here. So, Mercury retrograde ending. Let's start there because that's happening tonight. This Mercury retrograde, as some people were saying earlier, I saw your comments. I was just still going through. You said we can get a moment of breath this Mercury retrograde because everything has been rough. There has been no moment of breath during this Mercury retrograde. This Mercury retrograde has been in Aquarius this entire time. And Mercury in Aquarius is all about you getting into the higher nature of your mind. And because of that, in getting into the higher nature of your mind, the thoughts that you had in your lower mind were starting to get destroyed. Hence Mercury, right? Mercury represents this lower mind aspect. So because your mind was getting tugged and pulled and pulled and tugged in all these different directions, trying to say, hey, this is what you could do. Hey, this is what you could do. Hey, this is this opportunity. Hey, this is what you could do. What's going on now is that it's like, okay, you've now seen all the possibilities of what's potential, right? I feel like a lot of people have come into a very sound portion of their vision as far as like, how do you want to take this thing forward, right? How do you want to take your vibe and your information forward, and how is that going to make a change with things, right? Aquarius is also the sign of reform and like necessarily like changing things, right? Making a change that ends up solidifying into something new, something more progressive, and something more productive. All of that Aquarius energy was making a square to Taurus throughout this Mercury retrograde. We had a stellium in Aquarius. There was a lot of stuff that was going on, right? Like, and because of that tension that was going on was between the old world, everything that you used to know, right, and you moving on and pushing forward into an electric new life, right? So now, because you've been moved on into this electric new life, or you're in the first stages of this electric new life, Mercury is going direct now, right? And now as Mercury goes direct and it goes through into Pisces, you're going to start actually communicating and making actions and taking actions on the things that you ended up kind of coming to conclusion in during Mercury retrograde. Right now, all those things have been basically downloaded. Everyone's been kind of like in this area of time frame, and it's been happening across the board for the entire collective. It's been happening for everyone, right? So, with that being considered, if this is happening for everyone, all this energy is going on. Now we have to see, where are we going next? Like, what are we taking this to? Where are we going next? How is this going to be going on, right? So now we entered Pisces season just as of yesterday. So happy birthday again to the Pisces. Please make sure you check out the Happy Birthday Pisces box as well. Get your goodies at House Intuition. Make sure you pop in if you're in LA. If not, be sure to order online for whoever you have as a Pisces loved one so they can get that as well. But part of this, right? Pisces season comes in. Now, Aquarius season, all about the mind. Pisces season is literally about the letting go. It's about the touching the ethereal. It's about the diving into your dreams, following your dreams. What can you do to jump and follow into your dreams? And this is going to really be popping off this full moon in Virgo, which is happening this next Saturday. So I'll put it like this. Next Saturday, I'll be talking about the full moon in Virgo, but it'll be a little bit afterward. But if you come to my full moon in Virgo class, you're going to know exactly how to manifest, or not manifest specifically. This is more so a release. Full moons are about releasing, right? So what do you have to release? What do you have to let go? Based off of your zodiac sign, your sun, moon, and rising. I'm gonna be pulling cards as well. I pull the tarot for all the signs. Like, we really get down into the layers of each component of energy and all the possibilities of how this energy could be impacting you. So if you want to know how that works, be sure to check out the Harness the Energy class, which is happening on the 26th at 6 p.m. PST. It's only $10 a piece and it's on Zoom. So be sure to pull up to that. I'm going to be going through the full moon in Virgo, and I really think the full moon in Virgo and the full moon in Pisces and vice versa are very powerful full moons, because it is literally about wish fulfillment and how are you going to be bringing in the largest part of your dreams into reality. But you have to release the details that don't work for you in that process. But I'll be breaking down specifically all of that, showing you the astrology, showing you how the planets are going to be moving, and all of that this upcoming Friday. So be sure to check out that class, as well as my class on Monday, which is the 222 synchronicity class. Oh, and not to mention, on Wednesday, we have Astrology 102 starting again. So please come to the Astrology 102. We're going to be talking about the nodes, the North Node and South Node. So we're going to be talking about the points of destiny. So we're going to be breaking down the points of destiny, getting all the information to you, and all the signs. So check that out. Let me get back into the astrology for this upcoming week, because this is still important, right? So now we've talked about Mercury retrograde. We talked about Pisces season started. But now we need to talk about Venus in Pisces, which is also going to be coming up, right? Now, Venus in Pisces is going to be happening this week as well on the 25th, right? So on the 25th, we have our hearts, right? Because Venus represents very much our hearts, right? And a lot of Pisces energy, in my personal opinion, represents a certain sense of unconditional love, whereas all signs do express unconditional love. I believe Pisces has a certain connection to the spirit of unconditional love in this process. And with that being said, with this Venus in Pisces portion, right? Putting those two things together, this is really going to make sure that your heart's desires start to come into fruition, right? And that's the whole point about this is, like I said, heart's desire, Venus and Pisces. And so what this is happening, the reason why this week's even important, your Venus in Pisces, will this season be super sensitive for relationships? Yes, it will. And I'm going to put it to you like this, and I'm going to keep it real with y'all. This is going to be a season where it's like really going to show you how in tune and how tapped in that you are with your partner, or how in tune and how not tapped in that you might be, right? What this is trying to do is this is showing like the spirit and the connections between the hearts. So that's actually a great question. And Pisces is a very sensitive vibration. The reason why it's such a sensitive energy is because it's one of the most magical energies, and it has to have time to maneuver. So it doesn't necessarily have to it doesn't take up as much space. It really just goes with the flow. Pisces energy is very similar to this blue. Like if you see this blue right here, this is like a very like ethereal Piscean type of like energy, so to speak. With that being said, it is going to be super sensitive for relationships, and it's going to be promoting you to get into a deeper and more sincere position with the people that you want to be with, right? Someone asked, what about getting back together with somebody, right? If it comes to Venus and Pisces, and I'm going to put it like this, and I'm going to give it to y'all straight. With the Mercury in retrograde, usually the whole thing is like, oh, exes come about or old things come back, right? Cool. Let's say that happened for you and it's working out and it's all good, and this is someone that you're meant to connect with on that heart level because you are connected on a heart level. Sure, that could probably work out because Venus and Pisces is basically going to be kind of exposing, in a sense, the love aspect. It's like, how much love are you actually showing? Is that love coming from your heart, or do you think that you love this thing? Or is that love coming from where you are? Do you think that, right? And with Aquarius season was showing you what you think, so you know what you think, right? So now with Pisces season is trying to show you, and Venus and Pisces especially is trying to show you, is like, what do you feel? How does it make you feel? And that's really going to be very critical going into this upcoming time frames, right? Someone said, what if you ended things during Mercury retrograde? Venus and Pisces is going to open back up your heart. So if it's going to be something that's aligned with that, cool. But Venus and Pisces is really strongly about opening up the heart to a certain vibration of unconditional love. Like, yeah, blah, 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 things were this, but like, I still love this for, you know, who this person was or for what this was. Like, this is the type of energy that needs to go in, because this, right? Pisces are a very, like I said, very mystical folk. They're very dream oriented, but the whole idea behind it is because they're just like, yeah, I know, like, there's no other way to explain it. It's just, like, that's very much a Piscean energy. Every Pisces that you know probably has a little sway thing that they do, because that's just their energy. That's literally just how they're moving, right? Now, about this and getting into this next section, right? Everything that I'm mentioning, mind you, is all in lead up to the full moon in Virgo, right? Full moon in Virgo. So remember the new moon in Pisces if you've been following me and being around, first of all, thank you for showing up every week. But outside of that, if you have been following this and following like the information that I've been putting out, when it comes to this upcoming, what was it? Oh, last 6 months ago, when it was the new moon in Pisces, right? When it was the new moon in Pisces, full moon in Pisces. When it was a full moon in Pisces, so confused. New moon in Virgo. So sorry. I've been jumping. I've been doing stuff in advance, but what I'm trying to say, right? The last bits of Mercury retrograde got to get you somewhere. But the new moon in Virgo, anything that you put in for the manifestation in the new moon in Virgo is going to start to release in this full moon in Virgo, right? So what was remember during that time frame for the Virgo season, I was really telling people, I'm like, you need to write down your manifestations and what you want to bring in. That's because this Pisces season is literally granting that. That's the reason why I was so heavy on, hey, make sure you write this down. Hey, make sure that you put this in manifestation in. Hey, make sure you do that. Because in that 6-month cycle, now this is what's going to be pushed forward come this full moon in Virgo. And if you didn't do that work, that is okay. I'm going to be still showing you how these things are going to impact. But if you did that work at that time frame, congratulations, because this is how the universe is really trying to like pull through and then like coming down to make that a difference, right? So that is what's going to be very interesting with all of that circumstance, right? Now, here's what we're going to talk about, and here's how we're going to break this down. Let's get into the week itself. So let's start off once more with today. But before I get back into the week itself, please make sure that you go to House of Intuition LA. I got 3 classes this week. Be sure to sign up for the one on Monday, Wednesday, and Tuesday. Astrology 102 integrations is going to be amazing. Please be sure that you go to that. If you missed the one-on-one, that is perfectly fine. This is going to still be the next things. It's just going to be different integral levels. So if you want to know how to tap into that destiny, if you want to know how the planets communicate with each other to make different things happen in real life and also in your personal life, and if you want to know how to read someone's birth chart, please go do that 102. Every class, be sure to sign up in advance as well so you can have all of those already readied up and ready to go for the rest of the week. So 102 is going to be amazing. Intuition, following your intuition, is going to be on Monday, and then the last one, the full moon of Virgo, will be on Friday. So I'll be excited to see you all there. We're going to really get that going. Now, right, getting to the next segment today, right, what we have, let's pull up the actual aspects. So the moon is going to be passing by the North Node. Now, what's important about this is that as the moon is passing by the North Node today, which is the point of destiny in astrology, which I just mentioned before, with it being in Gemini right now, the collective's destiny is all kind of built off of communication, right? It's all built off of everything like that, right? Now, getting to the next section, Gemini passing by this North Node is when Mercury Retrograde is ending, and Mercury rules Gemini. So it's like the moon is in Gemini going on this North Node, and then afterward, Mercury is ending its retrograde. Like, that's very critical in my personal opinion, because it's showing you where it's like, it's a congratulations, you did this part. You learned the things that you were supposed to learn. So now what? You know what I mean? It's like, now what? And although we are still going to be in a shadow period for X amount of time frame, what's going to start revealing itself is the actual story which you need to start pushing forward for the next 3.5 months before the next retrograde happens, right? So that's what's all happening right now. Moon's passing by the North Node. What do you stand for? What do you believe in? And what's on your heart? There might be even a duplicity in this right now. And the reason why it's a duplicity is because you must honor the duplicity. The reason why Pisces is so multifaceted is because they understand the facet of multiplicity. They understand that they are multiple things. They are a spirit in a human body and living out this experience. Therefore, they can have their hats in different places. Therefore, they can have that. Shadow period, it's usually, I feel like, in my personal opinion, like, it's really strong for like that, or it's stronger for that first like week time frame. But I honestly would just give it, as far as energetically, like a week in between that. So I can't answer like personal questions right now in this live stream because I have to like keep rolling. But if anyone's looking for me or anything along the lines of that, my name's Chad the Maverick across all social media. So if you want to find me, it's Chad the Maverick. I'll be putting it in the IG TV link as well if you want to find that. But I can't answer everything right here currently, though. Just wanted to premise that. But getting into this next portion, right? 222 on 222, right? So this weekend is going to be about this destiny activating. The moon goes in Cancer tomorrow, which is going to all be about like diving into the security, the home-like space, what makes you comfortable. Really take the time to just chill. Honestly, in all realness, I would suggest everyone to literally sleep the day away tomorrow. Like, if you have the opportunity to just sleep the day away, I would high-key suggest you do. And that's because the moon being in Cancer is all about the home, all about comfort, and Pisces is the sign of dreams. So it's like, take a nap. I think there's a lot of rejuvenation that needs to happen like before we enter the wholeness of this Pisces season. So be sure that you actually like take the time out to chill Give yourself that nurturing energy and such like that. Because come 222 on Monday, we have the moon in Cancer making its trine to Neptune, right? So now what's going to be going on is that there's a certain sense of comfort that you're going to be feeling that is going to actually align you to what you were trying to manifest. Let's say that new moon in Virgo. The reason why I want to frame it this way is because this is one, how the cycles end up working, but two, this is what's going to be really making a difference. Someone said it's 222. I'm literally talking about the day 222. Like as I'm speaking right now, 222 is an amazing synchronicity. It's one of my favorites, and one of the things that I'm going to be talking about on Monday, which onto 222, is a class on synchronicity, signs, and numbers. So we're going to be talking about the numerology, different things that end up happening when you see certain number codes. We're going to be bringing in a bunch of different resources, talking about it, talking about our experiences as well. So if you have anything to comment on, we'll be talking about that in that class as well. So if you have been seeing signs, if you've been noticing that you've been seeing signs, even if it's not strictly numbers, but you've just been seeing things in between, that's what that class is all going to be about, really trying to show you the different layers and the different levels of what you can really get into in that regard. So shouts out to the 222. As I'm talking about 222, be sure to come to the class on 222. So appreciate the love, right? Now, moon in Cancer once more. Comfortability, getting into that and making that. Gematria is dope to you. That's something that I'm definitely looking into. So dope. So the next part, right, that I'm going to talk about is this moon entering Leo. So before the full moon goes into Virgo, right? It goes into Leo first before it completes its stage into this full moon, right? Which is also known as the dark moon. So what is going on, or the balsamic phase? I believe that's the correct term. If I'm wrong, my bad. Well, dark moon for sure. But the whole idea with this dark moon, right? Before this next stage and this next step is that it's like it really makes you have to look at the depth of your heart, and specifically your heart, because it's going to be in Leo. So with this dark moon in Leo that's going to be going on before this full moon, it's going to be like, hey, this is like the last step to kind of like check where you're at with your heart sincerity, right? Before the full moon, wherever you release. So it's like this usually, from my personal opinion, the dark moon is what shows you what you need to release for the full moon, right? So now, what's going to be going on with this? Or it's not the dark moon. I'm just saying the wrong term, but it's basically, am I saying the wrong term? Anyway, but right before the full moon happens. So, full moon in Virgo once more is going to be an epic release. But before this full moon in Virgo, we have something going on the 25th, and that's Venus entering Pisces, what I was talking about before. So before the full moon, Venus goes into Pisces, all about your heart's desire. How are you tapping into your heart's desires? How are you embracing the ethereal nature of things that are going on in your life? Everything like that gets kind of questioned, gets put on stage, gets really asked for like gets a parameter around it, right? Now, we have the sun having the sextile to Uranus. So that's going to be an identity having a new development during this Leo phase before the full moon, right? The sun having a sextile to Uranus, new developments are going to happen almost out of nowhere to your like identity and personality. That's going to spark you forward with more of what you want to do. And Jupiter is going to be trine to Neptune, right? So, Jupiter making its trine to Neptune is going to be experiences, finding new experiences through accepting almost your fate. Like I feel like there's a certain sense of like fate that's getting activated because of all this dreamlike energy of Pisces and such like that. A lot of shifts in fate. I'm gonna be real. Like I feel like, but it's all going to be in closer alignment with your spirit. So it's not something to be afraid of. If there's Pisces season is a season of undoing, and part of that is a part of like truly releasing and letting go of all things on an emotional scale, on just like allowing yourself to be. One thing that's very, very critical about it is that if you think about like monks and such like that, right? They don't have any attachments to material objects, right? Or like traditional monks, to say the least. I don't know about modern monks or anything like that, but traditional monks, they would literally like leave the material world behind. They would go up into nature, be to themselves, and be in like a spiritual isolation, meditating, working out, exercise, yoga, movement, knowing how to fight, all this cool stuff, sitting under waterfalls, doing a bunch of cool stuff. But moral of the story is, with that being said, the monks would let go of all attachments. Anyway, they would let go of all attachments, right? And because they would let go of them, they get into a different mindset, right? As you can see, there are certain monks that can like chop something in half with no problem. Like they could just chop that with like their hand. They could just like punch something through. And why is that the case, right? They have gotten to this place in their minds where they have let go, right? To the point where they're able to like achieve almost supernatural things. And the reason why I'm even bringing this up is because it's like they have this certain sense of letting go. And when they start to let go, or when they work on letting go for so long, they start to actually achieve the unimaginable, right? Monks meditating for 5 hours. It's hard for most of us to meditate for 5 minutes. They're out here meditating for 5 hours, fasting 5 days sometimes, you know what I mean? But why is that? They let go of the world around them to embrace spirit. They let go of the world around them to embrace like the divine. In a sense, like how are you going to embrace the divine as much as possible? And with Pisces season, if you're a monk, not a monk, the furthest thing from a monk, doesn't really matter. The signs and the energies do not care. They're going to do what they do. And what this is going to be doing is trying to tap us into this more intuitive parts of ourselves, this more letting go, this undoing, and tapping us into once more heart's desire. You're leading back to this Venus and Pisces that I was talking about beforehand. Heart's desires are activating. What do you need to let go of in this process? Full moon in Virgo is going to show you specifically what you need to release in order to bring in more of what you want, to bring your dream into reality. Be sure to go to the class on that. I'm going to tell you how to do it for yourself. Like it's like I'll literally be like, yep, here's this. Cool, and I suggest you do that. So please be sure that you pull up to the class. I have one on 222, synchronicities and numbers. I have one on Wednesday, which is going to be the Astrology 102 starting, which is going to be immaculate. If you went to the Astrology 101, much love to you all. I really do appreciate you going to that 4 weeks because that was an amazing time frame. Y'all learned a lot of astrology, and y'all are going to be pros at this. And especially if you go to the 102, you're going to be a trust. If you didn't go to the 101, that's okay. If you know this is basics of the science, fine. But the 102 is going to tell you about destiny, how the planets talk, how to read a chart, everything else like that. Also the decans. So we're going to start to see different levels of each zodiac sign and how those different levels of each zodiac sign start to make a difference. So once more, appreciate you all for showing up. Someone said it was an amazing class. Thank you so much. Thank you for your wisdom shares. Oh, no. Listen, I love doing this, so I appreciate anyone that comes through to listen to the astrology. I really am grateful for that in the process. So like I said, be sure to check all that out. Much love to you all. This has been your host with the most, Chad the Maverick. I will be seeing you all later on at the numbers class, at the Astrology 102, and at the full moon in Virgo class at the end of this week. Thank you all so much. Much love, and I'll see you next time. Peace.